Buckle up, because we're time traveling. Not only is this outfit inspired by Outlander, which involves time travel, but also all of these clips were filmed almost a year ago. This project was my first time using an actual legitimate pattern, and I used this one, which was kindly gifted to me by my friend Eleanor at Berries of Blue on Instagram. And this was the pile of materials that I thought I was going to use for this project, but I didn't. I went pretty far down the line of trying to use these materials and then eventually decided I needed to have a bit more structure and a bit more of a plan for this project. And I'm so glad that I did, because I feel like being more purposeful with my fabric choices really is what made the difference on this project. Getting ready to iron out stuff to start on this corset finally. And you might be asking, start on the corset, Danica, but what do you mean, start on the corset? Well, that's because I ended up not using that pile of fabric that I showed you but mere seconds ago for this outfit, but I did decide to take a little side quest and make a corset, so I'm going to show you that real quick. But first, here's Reggie. Someone decided that she was more important, which maybe oh my gosh, how'd you get all wet? Where were you? What did you do? Mysteriously wet dog aside, here's the process of me getting my fabric ready in a very janked way, because at this time I did not have a ironing board. So I had a towel on the floor and a dream, but I'm ironing out a bed sheet to be the lining for this corset that I'm taking a detour to make. But it's really cute. It actually turns out pretty good. I did make it too big, which is kind of a pattern with everything I make if you've been around here. But recently, I did finally take the 30 seconds that it took to make it my size, and I'm excited to wear it. Anyways, so actually I did make an entire video about making this corset, and it's here on my channel. Anyways, that was a detour I took while making this outfit. Fun fact, these things were coinciding at the same time. Wow. A little behind the scenes peek. Why did I slow this clip down this much? Okay, it's almost over, guys. All right. And back to the Celtic Faire outfit at hand. This was the first layer I made for the outfit, but it is not the first layer in the outfit. This is a 18th century petticoat style adjustable skirt thing. I saw a video on how to make this, and I've been making them ever since. I actually have a short on my channel showing you how I did it. I'll link that somewhere. But that was before I put on the ties, and then here it is finalized, becoming part of the outfit. Did that make any sense? No, of course it didn't, because yet again, I insist on filming these voiceovers first thing in the morning while I'm having coffee. So this is what you get. Anyways, watch me put this on in real time. I won't speed it up because I won't. I don't know. Enjoy. Okay, and now we get to the actual first layer that you wear with this outfit, which is the chemise. I took this pattern and I modified it by making the sleeves short, and I also gave it a V-neck for, I don't know, I felt like the V-neck would be kind of fun. I don't have any rhyme or reason behind the design decisions that I make. You should know that about me if you're going to be here and you're going to watch me make stuff. Why did I film myself ironing this sheet for so long? My gosh. Anyways, when is it over? Okay, it's almost over. I modified this pattern, and here's the process of me making that with, of course, more bed sheets. There's that saucy little V-neck that I decided to, wow, I ripped that away. I Hold on, I did not expect. Why did I do that? Anyways, this was my first foyer, I don't know if I said that right, into putting sleeves on something. And as you can tell, I was having a time with it, you know? And the whole living room was just a disaster in this process. But there it is. And here is me sewing a random bit of white sheet. How exciting. The part I struggled the most with this chemise or shift, whatever you want to call it, was putting the elastic channels in. And if I'm being honest, I still struggle with that a year later. And I don't know if I'll ever learn. If you have any advice on how to sew elastic channels into garments, I would greatly appreciate anything, please. In the comments, send me a message. Just if you have advice, help me, please. At some point during the process of making this, I came home to find my neighbor looking rather hauntingly. Anyways, then I made a corset. And this one was actually for the outfit, not like the previous one that I sidetracked myself with. Although I didn't make technically the appropriate corset for this outfit, I patterned a corset. I didn't pattern it. I bought a pattern for a Victorian-inspired corset, which is definitely not the proper undergarment for a late 1700s inspired outfit. But you know what? I wanted that pattern. So I justified getting it for this project. And who's going to stop me? I have a short on my channel, which I'll link somewhere on this screen, that goes through the process of me making this corset. So I'm going to let you watch the footage right now with more of that flashy Celtic copyright-free music. Enjoy! And now for the next layer. Originally, I was going to make the chemise out of this white material that I did buy from Joann's. And I was also going to make the overskirt that you see in the end product with that same material, but I ended up not realizing that I had to cut on a fold. And anyways, I wasted a lot of material, but I ended up just salvaging what I could, and I made an overskirt that didn't fully close in the back. You'll see when I show the final product what I mean. But I'm happy with how it turned out, and it worked for the costume. Like I said in the very beginning, this was my first real project. So at this point, I figured I had more than enough material to pleat, make a waistband, and have it fully closed in the back. But as you can see, as I'm showing you right here, it's split back, doesn't fully close in the back. However, I probably could have made it fully closed because I forgot that this layer would be going on top of me when my waist was in a corset. So I actually ended up having to use a safety pin and close the skirt closer than where I've sewed the hook and eyes in. So I could have made it fully closed in the back, but again, it gets covered by the final outer layer, and what the back of us looks like is literally none of our business. So it works for the costume, it's good enough, got the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at the final layer of this costume. This is where I actually used the pattern and I bought actual material purposefully for this piece. Oh my gosh, we're actually sewing things. I made it too big, shock, but I did end up being able to adjust it a bit. This was while things were still pinned in place, and I literally remember this feeling when I looked back at this clip and when I saw myself in my phone camera. I couldn't believe that it actually looked like a real thing. It looked like a real costume. It looked like how I wanted it to look in my head, and that was just such an incredible feeling, and it's honestly what's been pushing me through all of this trial and error to just chase that feeling. I scavenged the little trim at the opening of my sleeves from this bedsheet, and I still have a lot of that, and I would like to do something with that. But anyways, I was really proud of how my pleats lined up. Lined up. I didn't line this outer layer, and I wish I would have. If I make it again, which I do want to, I will line it and also not put the sleeves on upside down, but that's another issue for another time. If there's anything I've learned from this whole process, it's that elastic channels are hard and sleeves are hard. So again, if anyone has any advice, please tell me. Tell me everything you know. I want to learn it all. Oh my god, my hand looks dead. What the heck? Anyways, in this project, I made my first ever modesty panel. How exciting. Here it is. You pin it in place directly to your corset, I guess. At least that's what I did. As I stated at the beginning of this video, I was making this outfit to wear to a Celtic fair, a Celtic themed Renaissance fair essentially. So I had another side quest of making my friend a skirt for her outfit. I did that same 18th century petticoat style, and that was the material, and that was all I filmed of her skirt, I guess. Now we're back to my outer layer where I was marking my grommets, and here was the night before. You can hardly see it at all. I was watching Outlander while doing the final touches, and I was feeling pretty good. As you can tell by the thumbs up. The next day, here it was, all in its glory, before we headed out the door to drive to the fair. It was a very fun day, and now you will see clips of me, and there's my friend McKenna. She's wearing the skirt I made her. She looks amazing. She fit in so beautifully at the Celtic fair. It was such a fun day. We did lots of twirling. Now enjoy clips from the fair, sort of, from the fair parking lot.
I know, but I can't.
All right, huzzah!